Boo! Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to some more Danganronpa 3. My name is Akir, and when we last left off, we said goodbye to two cherished classmates. Their bright smiles and warm personalities. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm as bad as Kokichi. Nah, they're dead. They're dead. The two people I hated most are dead. Are dead. The two people I hated most are dead. Yeah. So yeah, two people are dead, and I'm very happy for it. Tenko and Angie. I hated them both. And now they died at the same time. It's like the game is giving me a Christmas present. So, we are going to obviously continue. We are obviously going to start the trial. We have done the investigation. I checked my skills last stream, so we don't have to do that. One thing that I will mention though, maybe not put me in a very good light, but I got curious. I often do. I'm actually quite a curious person when something interests me, which is why I open up a web browser in basically every stream these days to answer a question that I asked. But yes, the question that I was curious about was who had the sticky fingers. So in the last stream, I made a big deal about how somebody was complaining that they had sticky hands. And I couldn't for the life of me remember who it was. I thought it may have been Himiko. But here's the thing. I looked at the VOD. Well, I skimmed through the VOD. Because I came to the conclusion, you know what? The game just expects me to know at this point. It's not going to tell me. And eventually there's going to be the question of, oh, who has the... who showed some sign of whatever. And they're going to have me do the whole look around the room thing and pick the right person. And the reason why it's going to be that person is going to be because... the sticky fingers. I was supposed to remember who had that. However, the thing is, I skimmed through the VOD and I couldn't find it. I actually couldn't find it, which was a bit of a letdown for me. But I didn't like look at it. I didn't look through all of it. But I went to the two most likely conversations right at the very end. The one where Himiko is outside of Himiko and Tenko are outside the room, and Tenko starts yelling at Himiko outside the art room, I should say. While Shuichi and Angie and Maki watch. And also the conversation right in front of the art room where Himiko is guarding the door and Shuichi and Maki are trying to find out why they can't be let in. I checked both of those conversations and nothing from anybody. So it's kind of weird. I'm kind of wondering if I brainwashed myself into believing that I had heard somebody admit to having sticky fingers. But yeah, no, apparently not. Apparently that's just not a thing. Now, I could simply have missed it. That is a possibility. That is a distinct possibility. But, I mean, until proven otherwise, I'm just going to assume that I completely brainwashed myself. So, we're going to do what we always do before a class trial. We are going to go through all of the truth bullets and see what we have. So, these are relatively straightforward cases. But, you know, there's some complications in there regarding who actually did it. How it was done is pretty obvious for both. It's just who actually did it that's the problem. But anyway, let's take a look. Monokuma File 3, the victim is the ultimate artist Angie Yonaga. The victim's body was discovered in the Ultimate Artist Research Lab. The time of death is approximately 2 a.m. The victim was killed by a fatal stab wound to the torso. Additionally, she has lacerations on her forehead. The second victim is the ultimate Aikido master, Tenko Chabashira. The victim's body was discovered in a vacant room on the 4th floor. The estimated time of death is 11 a.m. The victim was stabbed in the back of her neck, resulting in death. No other injuries were detected. Art lab back door. This door has a sliding lock. When Angie's body was found, the sliding lock was locked from the inside. The handle of the sliding lock moves at the slightest touch. Something gold and shiny was on the handle. Huh. I just realized that. Those two things, the handle moves at the slightest touch, and something gold and shiny was on the handle. Those two things kind of don't really... The gold and shiny bit makes it so that the handle sliding easily doesn't actually matter. Because if the sword handle hits the lock with so much force that it actually imprinted some of the gold leaf on the lock, that means that it hit it with a reasonable amount of force. But anyway. Samugi's account. Angie had locked herself in the Ultimate Artist lab since yesterday, working on the ritual. She would not unlock the door unless someone from the student council asked her to. The student council members were Gunta, Kibo, Himiko, Tenko, and Samugi. Art Lab's front door. This door has a cylindrical lock. Monodam swallowed the only key, so it can only be locked and unlocked from inside the lab. Before Angie's body was found, the door was locked, but Kokichi opened it by picking the lock. Kokichi can lock and unlock the front door of the Ultimate Artist Lab with his lockpicking skills. Yep. Don't see why you need to have both of them, but sure. Necronomicon, a book Monokuma prepared as a motive. Angie attempted to carry out the book's resurrection ritual. The Okay. Yeah, I read all that last time. Prepare an effigy. No, it is actually important because it's going to come up later on. Did she actually finish the ritual? And we need to know why she couldn't have finished the ritual, so I'll read it. The Necronomicon Resurrection Ritual. Prepare an effigy of the dead soul you wish to contact. Everyone may participate. The size and shape of the effigy is irrelevant. Make it out of whatever materials you wish. If it's not obvious who the effigy is supposed to be, label it with the name of the deceased. After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. ____. Use caution. Be mindful of carbon monoxide poisoning. Sprinkle the ashes over the effigy and repeat the name of the deceased 3 times. Sprinkle the ashes on the effigy and repeat the name of the deceased 3 times. Then close your eyes and wait. After a while, you should feel a light tap on your back. If so, that means the ritual was a success. The ashes are only good for one use. The ritual can only be performed once, so use it wisely. Yeah. So she didn't do the ritual. Which actually does make me wonder if we're going to do the ritual after this trial. It is possible. We are very low on people at this point. We're very low on warm bodies. Effigies hung upside down. The 4 wax effigies that were created for the resurrection ritual. They are exact replicas of the late Rentaro, Kaede, Ryoma, and Kirumi. They were hung upside down from the ceiling beams in the Ultimate Artist's lab. Gold leaf katana. It was stabbed into the hung Kaede effigy. Because the katana is so old, the handle's gold leaf rubs off easily. There was blood on the tip. It was taken from the Ultimate Anthropologist's lab, so only the sheath was left in the display case. Anyone could have entered the lab. Forehead injury. Considering the laceration, the injury on the victim's forehead was not bleeding as much as it should, because it bled somewhere else. Bloody duct tape. Bloody piece of duct tape stuck to her hair. The blood on it had already dried. The blood that was flowing from the back of Angie's neck created a pool. I just now realized how many truth bullets there are this time, because we literally have 2 murders. Well, I'm gonna go through them all. The caged child. In order to perform the caged child, cool. You need 5 people, including the spirit medium and a dark place with no light. First, draw the magic circle passed down from the caged dog village on the ground. Then the spirit medium must place their forehead on a stone and curl up like a turtle. They must do this at the center of the circle. After the other four must make the following preparations. Place the iron cage over the spirit medium and then cover that cage with a white cloth. Finally, place the the dog god statue on top of the cage. Take care not to step on the magic circle during the preparations. Finally, turn off all the lights to make it completely dark, and your preparations will be complete. The seance will commence once all 4 participants stand at the corners of the room. The 4 participants, not including the spirit medium, will sing the cage child's song. After the song, ask is the cage child, then say the name of the spirit. The spirit medium will reply with the voice of the spirit you have summoned. And that right up there is, in fact, the cage child song, in case you wanted to see it. I'm not singing it again. I did a poor enough job the first time. Kibo's flashlight function, a function that Mew had added to Kibo. He can emit a blinding light from his eyes. Sound during seance. During the seance, there was a loud sound while it was completely dark. White sheet, the sheet that was over the iron cage during the seance. It's very thick and cannot be seen through. There's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet, but there's no hole in the fabric. Okay. Yeah, that's fine, that makes sense. Kyo was the one who placed the sheet over the cage and removed it off the cage. Dog statue. The wooden statue that was put on top of the iron cage during the seance. It weighs about 175 pounds. Shuichi, Kokichi, Kyo, and Himiko work together to put it up and remove it from the cage. Hole in the corner. A hole that was in the corner of the room the seance was held in. There is space under the floor so you can see what was dropped there. Magic circle Karekyo drew. A magic circle that was drawn with salt. It was drawn on the floor of the room where the seance was held. After Tenko's body was found, the magic circle was trampled on. That made it impossible to check the original shape. Does that matter? Is there any possible reason why that would matter? No, not really. Unless we had to prove why the seance didn't work for some reason. That's the only thing I can think of, but, like, seriously, who cares? I don't. The reason it didn't work is because your medium was dead, Kyo. Get over it. Iron cage. The iron cage that Tenko was in during the seance. It is around 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. Shuichi and Kokichi placed this over Tenko and Himiko. And Himiko removed it. Shuichi and Kokichi placed this over Tenko, and Himiko removed it. Tenko's blood was on the bottom of the cage. Yeah, honestly, that's the weirdest part to me. That is actually the weirdest part. Oh no, I'm dumb. That makes total sense. It's because the sheet was on top of the iron cage. Right, so when the blood spatter, it went through the cage, hit the sheet. Obviously, duh. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. Marker stone, the stone that was by Tenko's body. During the seance, Tenko had been crouched over in the iron cage with her forehead on this stone. Loose floorboard, the loose floorboard right below Tenko. It was not loose before the seance. There was dried blood on the bottom part of the floorboard. Tenko's last moments. Tenko died in a crouched position. The injury on the back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Oh, I just had a thought. Interesting. Dried blood under the floor. A small amount of blood that was on the ground under the floor of the room the seance was held in. It was quite far from where Tenko's blood was dripping. Crosspiece under the floor. One of the crosspieces that supports the loose floorboard in the room the seance was held in. Only the portion that supports the floorboard was cut off. It wasn't broken naturally. It looked like someone had purposely cut it. Sickle under the floor. The sickle that was under the floor of the room the seance was held in. The weapon came from the Ultimate Assassin's lab. The blade was about 6 inches, and the blood was still wet. Bloody Kokichi. While Kokichi was investigating the neighboring room from where the seance was held, he had stepped through one of the floorboards. That room also had a part of a crosspiece cut off, the portion that supported the floorboard. Huh, interesting. Okay, so, where do we start? I have some thoughts that just came to me while I was reading back through these. Also, we should probably go through what we know happened. Let's get my thoughts out of the way first. Because I'm likely to forget. So first of all, Bloody Kokichi. It has just now occurred to me that the only The only evidence that we have that the floorboards in the other rooms were cut off is him. That's it. And he is a known liar. And also a potential killer. So it is possible that that blood ain't real. Or he put it there himself and just disguised the fact that the crosspiece in the other room had been cut off. That's very possible. Okay, so number 2 is actually tied to this, but it is Tenko's last moments. Probably not enough to kill her immediately. Now, Maki, while we're investigating, Maki came up with a perfectly reasonable response, which is, when you die the way she died, it's possible that you don't react at all. That you try and process the death that is coming for you and try to understand what happened, and you don't say anything. So, according to Tenko, it is possible that she did, in fact, just... It is possible that she died like this without saying anything. Now, I came up with another theory while I was talking about this, which is the way that the killing had to have taken place, I think, if it was with the sickle, then yeah. If it was with the sickle, then the way that this had to take place was that the board that she was kneeling on moved, which we know it did, and somebody came up into the cage with her, brought up the scythe, and stabbed her there. Now, like that, she would have been centimeters from that person. Literally centimeters. So the idea that I came up with is, and she can't not have noticed, she was literally kneeling on the floorboard that moved. She had to have seen. So the reason I came up with why she didn't say anything is because the person who killed her was someone she cared about. And there is only one person in the entire game that bitch cared about. And that was Himiko. So there's that. So other new things that I came up with. Yeah, so the sheet was actually on top of the cage. So stab down, blood sprays, hits the cage, hits the sheet. That makes perfect sense. I forgot which way it was, and for a while there I was considering that somebody stabbed into the cage from the outside. That wouldn't have been possible with the sickle, but which actually might be something that I need to point out later in the actual trial itself. But yeah, I was kind of wondering, how do you stab a sheet and not leave a hole? Well, maybe the ultimate magician would be able to figure it out. But no, you don't need to. Sound during seance. There was a loud sound while it was completely dark. Yeah, and it was like a crunching sound. Like wood crunching. I'm still not entirely certain what that was. Necessarily. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Keyboard flashlight, yeah. Oh yeah, so bloody duct tape. So just one small thing. So I'm not entirely certain how this was supposed to be used. I was thinking last time that maybe the tape was used to hold the cross piece in place, and then Angie put her foot through the hole, and the duct tape caught into her hair, and she got bloody then. So I thought of that. I really don't know if that's the case or how that works. But one thing that is certain is that when Angie put her foot through that hole, that is where this comes from. Because the blood on it is already dry, so it can't be from the actual killing itself. So there's that. Is there anything else? Kokichi's lockpicking. Not really. Not really, except for the what was it? What was the other thing? I already mentioned it. Oh yeah, this. It's the handle being slight and the golden shiny doesn't actually matter. Anyway, so what happened? Okay, so the annoying thing is that, chronologically speaking, there's so many gaps in our knowledge. So how did the person get into the art room? So we have all of the student council members could have gotten in because they just asked Angie to let her in, and Kokichi could have picked the lock. And I'm wondering if Maki could have. I don't know. We don't have any proof of that, so let's leave it. So yeah, that's how they got in. How they killed is a stab wound. Fair enough. Actually, no. Chronologically speaking, even before that, Angie went to the middle spare room. Yeah, something like that. And she put her foot through the hole in the floor, and that is where is it? That's where the forehead injury comes in. So she goes to the middle one. She puts her foot through the floor, just like Kokichi did. She gets slammed in the face by the floorboard. That's where the laceration came from. That's where the duct tape came from. And that's where the blood on the underside of the floorboard came from. Great. Fantastic. So that we know for a fact she was still alive when that happened. Number two. Number two. What am I talking about? So next up is the actual murder. How did somebody get in? Student council, Kokichi is basically the only options. Maybe Maki, but I don't know. Does that include Tenko? Do you think she'd open the door for Tenko? Well, Tenko's already dead, so I don't think it actually matters. But so there's that. Right. So then exit. How did the killer get out? They used the mannequin, spooled it up like a spring, and then got out of the room. The mannequin spun down, and the sword smacked into the sliding lock. The mannequin smacked into the sliding lock on the back door, closed the door behind him. Okay, so that's basically set, I think. So that's cool. But like, how they got in, who got in, and like how they actually killed her? Was she like kneeling in prayer and they just slashed down her? I don't know. Yeah, so there's that. So then the next murder happens. So this one is even more confusing. Where's the loose floorboard? Yeah, it doesn't actually show where the floorboard was in relation to her body. I mean, do I have a mouse? I do. So I think it's like you can see the side of the floorboard there. So you can see that it was moved and there's potentially a hole. But it's kind of weird. Yeah, so next up, what happened? So the lights went down. Somebody went underneath the floorboards, got the sickle that they already left there, lifted up the floorboard underneath Tenko, stabbed her, and then went down, dropped the sickle, and then exited the way that they entered. So that could be. So Himiko could have done that because she was literally standing right beside a hole in the floor. She could have just dropped down and went and did it. Kibo could have done it because he has the flashlight eyes, and he has the flashlight function up here. And who was the other one that I said could have done this one? There was somebody. Oh, Kyo. Right. Actually, yes. That was the other thing I forgot. I knew I was forgetting something on the other one. So when I went back to find out who had the sticky fingers, a moment of blatant cheatery on my part, I'll admit. One thing that I did realize was that Kyo was the one who was pushing for the seance. That is true. But the one who suggested those 3 rooms for the seance to take place in was actually Himiko. It wasn't Kyo to begin with. Then Kyo said, we shall use those rooms. Well, there are 3 of them. Which shall we use? And then Himiko was like, the middle room. The middle room is always the best room for magic, or something like that. So Himiko actually did both. I remembered that she was the one who said the middle room, but I had forgotten that she was the one who actually said to use those rooms to begin with. So the reason why it could have been Kyo is because Kyo was basically dead set on doing a seance. So I thought, well, if he wanted to use those rooms, then he set up the kill, and perfect. But if it's Himiko who actually suggests using those rooms, that's a bit of a stretch now. That's actually a bit of a stretch. So in one fell swoop, I completely lost one reason for using Himiko. The fact that I thought that she had the sticky fingers and apparently she didn't. And I gained a completely different one, which is she was actually the one who wanted to use those rooms. But then, how would she have known what they were used for? How would she have known to cut the floorboards and all that? I don't know. I do not know. But, yeah, so who was on our shit list? Himiko. Himiko is at the very, very, very top of our shit list. If it's not her, then I'm going to be very surprised. Secondary on the hit list is Kibo. It could have been him. He did also know the like logistics of the seance. So he could have... No, everybody knew. Yeah, that's not really a thing anymore. Yeah, so Kibo for the flashlight function, basically. Miku... Wait, her name is Miku, isn't it? Miku roll, yeah. Right? Oh my god, Maki, that's why it didn't sound right. Maki. So Maki is also there, but only for the one simple reason that Tenko asked her to do something about Angie. So maybe she took the assassination contract. That's literally the only reason, though. That's the only thing that ties her to the killings. So there's that. And yeah, so Himiko, Maki, Kibo, Kyo doesn't really anymore. Unless, well, okay. Okay, so what if Himiko just said, we should use those 3 rooms? And he was like, and inside his head, he's like, celebrate good times, come on. And he's like, yes, I didn't have to be the one to say it. Brilliant. But that was his plan all along. Maybe. Yeah. And for the first killing specifically, it could have been anybody in the Soon Council or Kukichi. I really, really feel like we're gonna have to untangle the second killing, the killing of Tenko, before we get to the killing of Angie. Because we simply don't know enough about... we simply don't have enough variables to mess around with the first killing. Okay, so I've yammered on for about 29 minutes. I think it's about time we actually got into the game. So, let's begin this class trial. In session. Explosion Lolly, I'm looking at you.
Let's begin with the basic explanation of the class trial.
Oh, here's a fun one though. Which bear do you think is going to die next? Which bear do you think is going to go? So, for just meme purposes, Monodam, the robot, is the one who killed both of his brothers. So it would kind of be very funny if he was the one who just killed everybody. But he is also the one who's acting the most strange, the most abnormal. So if him dying would make sense given the fact that both of the other two were acting really strange and abnormal before they died as well. So honestly, Monodam might die here. In fact, I think my vote's on Monodam. I think these two, given the fact that they're so similar to Monokuma and... What was the name of the pink bear in the last game? What was her name? I basically stole her voice from Monophony. I don't remember, but those two are basically Monokuma and the other lady. So I'm gonna say Monodam's gonna die this time. But anyway,
During the
basic
trial,
explanation.
you'll present your arguments for who the culprit is and vote for who done it. Vote correctly, and only the blackened will be punished. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will graduate from this academy.
By the way, I just want to point out very quickly, that they did say that if there are two killers, then it's the killer of Angie that we are looking for. The killer of Tenko will get away scot-free. It's only Angie's killer that we need to finger. And if we don't finger Angie's killer,
Also, refusing to vote
We're gonna
will
die.
result in your death. So you better vote for someone. Now, smiles, everyone! It's showtime! Let's get this crazy awesome trial underway!
Sorry, everyone. I don't think I'm gonna be much help this time.
I don't think you were
Because
very
of
much help
Monokuma's
last time either.
Disruptions, I couldn't do a thorough investigation.
I can tell Monokuma is overcompensating to hide his self-consciousness.
Next time, spend less time fixing your hair and more time investigating, spaceman!
Shut up! I don't need to hear some comedy act from you two weirdos.
Hmm?
Who did it?
Ooh.
Who killed Angie and Tenko?
Ooh, the
Do
explosion
not let
lolly's
your
Angie.
emotions hasten your judgment. There may be two killers.
So, our other culprit might not be one of us here.
Oh, will you shut up, Samugi?
What do you mean?
Yeah, we need to
The
we need to
transfer student.
we need to prove that that didn't happen. I knew it.
Maybe our resurrected transfer student dragged Angie and Tenko into the grave.
Stop it! Stop making stuff up!
Yeah, she
Say
really
something,
does need to
Shuichi.
stop it.
It'll be a mess if this keeps going on.
I would happily. Is it even possible for a revived corpse to be the culprit? Well, in the interest of being thorough, I should clear things up here. Yes, please. Please do. Oh, come on. You could have just had me show the piece of evidence. Jeez. Whatever. It's gameplay, I guess.
This crime
Necronomicon.
was committed by the recently deceased. They came back to life and killed 2 of our classmates.
No!
No!
So, ritual did work?
No, it didn't. There you go. Oracle.
Who was resurrected, I wonder?
Angie did say she was gonna bring Rantaro back. Yes, Rantaro was resurrected. The culprit is the late Rantaro Amami!
Please, stop it!
Shuichi, say something. I saw that at the end there. This isn't about believing in reviving the dead. I have to focus on their statements. Were all those statements correct? Nah.
This crime was committed.
Alright. Let's clear this shit up, shall we? No.
So, ritual...
Oh, damn it. There it is.
That's wrong!
I didn't get the V there? I thought I was gonna get the V. That went straight through. Come on.
I don't think Angie's ritual succeeded.
Nope.
According to the Necronomicon Monokuma showed us,
I don't think she did it at all.
you have to burn the Necronomicon in the ritual.
After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. Use caution. Be mindful of carbon monoxide poisoning. Sprinkle the ashes on the effigy and repeat the name of the deceased 3 times.
If Angie's ritual had succeeded, the book would have been gone.
So she must have been killed before the ritual was complete, since the book was still intact.
Then, going to think Rantaro probably not culprit.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Gun's smarter than Samugi,
Well,
confirmed.
duh. There's no way a dead person could resurrect.
Now hold on a second. I can't let that comment stand.
Oh.
Sure, everybody knows that you can't bring the dead back to life. But it's easy at the Ultimate Academy, as long as you use the Necronomicon.
What are you talking about? There's no way that's possible.
But it's true. I never lie about motives.
Daddy said so he can't be wrong. Raising the dead is totally possible.
Man, I can't believe you guys wasted such a perfectly good motive. You should have let me use it to bring Monodum back to life.
Is all that remains.
Monodum is still alive, though.
Yeah, he's just a little shell shocked.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't waste a resurrection on Monodum's corpse.
Oh?
They're funny.
So resurrecting the dead was actually possible this whole time?
Smoogie, will you put your hands down?
There's no way it's possible.
I feel like she's
There's
really
no
just
way
messing
that could
with him
happen,
at this point.
idiots. Monokuma is trying to confuse us. Let's hurry up and find out who the Blackened is.
Wait, why does Angie's picture have angel wings on there? Everybody else should have an X,
If our
shouldn't they?
transfer
See,
student
look,
isn't the culprit,
halo
the
and
blame
angel
falls
wings.
to one of us.
Who the hell did that? Blame falls to one of us.
Who did it? Step aside, Half Pint. I'll handle this. I don't know about Tenko, but I'm pretty fucking sure Kyo murdered Angie.
What? Why?
Because of the sword.
Don't play dumb with me, creep show. I already know what happened.
Do tell. I actually have no idea where she's going with this, except for the sword bit.
The culprit used a katana to kill Angie. And
Okay.
it was found in Kyo's research lab. Which makes you, Kyo, automatically suspicious.
But anyone could have taken that katana, you see.
So that rusty katana was the murder weapon. You were the only one who cared about that thing, Kyo.
I did not care about some katana.
Oh, that's wrong.
Just admit it, you shit-eating worm.
That's
You
funny
went
though.
to the classroom, broke in, and murdered the fuck out of Angie.
Okay, well there's the...
Oh yeah, I'm a fucking genius!
Okay, so there's that broke in bit. That broke in bit. That makes sense. Is Korekyo really the culprit? Does that story fit the facts of the case? Okay, so hang on a second. Front door. Before Angie... Door was locked. Yeah, so it's that. I just need to get rid of the break-in. Okay. We should think about it from the beginning.
The culprit used a katana to kill Angie.
Alright. I think it's fairly late, isn't it?
Did not care about some
Although,
katana.
that's also a lie.
Just admit it, you shit-eating worm. To the classroom.
That was wrong? Whether Kyo had a key or not, Angie still would have let him into her lab. Why? And from there, he could have pinned her down and murdered her, just like that.
Oh no!
Okay, no he couldn't.
The culprit
Hang
used
on.
a katana to kill Angie.
Samugi's account.
And it was found in Kyo's research lab. Which makes you, Kyo,
It is really weird that he's lying right there. So
You went to the classroom.
there you go.
That's wrong!
No, Kyo would not have been able to enter Angie's lab. Isn't that right, Tsumugi?
Yeah. Before Angie locked herself up in her research lab, she said she wasn't going to open up for anyone but student council members.
And Kyo is not a member. She wouldn't have opened the door for him.
Kyo couldn't have killed Angie even if he wanted to.
Oh?
I
Do
had
tell.
no desire to kill her in the first place.
I mean, leave that alone.
So whoever killed
What?
Angie must have been one of the student council members, yeah?
I was doing a bit to lead you to the right answer. Can't believe you actually got it.
I like
Oh,
you.
how clever.
I should have gone.
You can just ignore her, Gonta.
Your was bad.
The
Get
remaining
lost.
student council members are Gonta, Kibo, Samugi, and Himiko.
Why does she have angel wings?
Well, it
I
can't be
disagree with that.
Himiko. She was besties with Angie.
Look, over on the right. Tenko doesn't have any angel wings. She has a weird X, but no angel wings. My least favorite character has angel wings. And I don't appreciate it. Well, it can't be Himiko. She was besties with Angie.
I trust their friendship. You guys do too, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, of course.
I really don't.
Can we trust their friendship so readily?
Nope.
Obviously. Let's believe in them.
Nah.
That trims our list of suspects down to 3. Gonta, Samugi, and Kibo.
And then up to 5 because we didn't get rid of
The
Himiko.
culprit is one of those 3 people.
And Kokiji is on that
One of
list.
those 2 people. Because a robot ain't people, Jack.
Who's Jack?
I will let that remark slide. Anyway, aren't these accusations just a tad too hasty?
What else? The culprit should confess already. Gonta, Keyboy, or Samugi? Well,
No, not Gonta. Gonta would never kill Angie.
Yeah, Gonta's a gentleman. You shouldn't suspect either of us.
Hey, stick up for me too.
Gonta definitely not hurt anyone. Torture Gonta if you don't believe.
No.
Torture might be a bit too far, but Gonta and I aren't the culprits.
Does he have a kink?
I'm not the culprit either. Jeez.
They're all just leaving him out completely.
The culprit.
Alright. Mass panic debate. Stotto. Alright, let's first hear the
We
accounts
must
before.
consider other possibilities. Surely there must be suspects outside the student council.
student council.
that's utterly impossible.
A dead chick
Not just
can't be the
anyone could open
culprit.
that door. Only student council members had access.
Oh, there you go. Found it.
Robots told such boring lies.
Do you know what the annoying part about this is?
Homophobic remark.
Do you know what the annoying part about this is? I want to hear all of their arguments, but the game specifically, mechanic-wise, isn't letting me hear all the arguments. There were several suspicious statements, but one is obviously inconsistent. And I found it. I'll listen carefully, sort the statements in my head, and find the answers.
We must
Yeah.
consider other possibilities.
Alright.
There
How
must be
do I...
suspects outside the student council.
Can I just... Oh, I can do that and then I can go to them. Okay.
That's utterly
I
impossible.
wanted to remember.
A dead chick
Not just
can't be the
anyone could open
culprit.
that door.
Yeah.
Only student council.
Oh, I missed. Come on, let me... There it is. Okay. Got it. Break. Oh, I should get the thing that...
It wasn't just student council members that could have opened that lab door.
I should get the thing that lets me destroy loud voices with one shot. That would probably make my life easier down the line. Anyway.
What was it you said earlier about Kyo opening the door, Shuichi? Unless you're a student council member, you can't enter Angie's lab, right?
I was referring to Kyo. He couldn't have done it. You could have. Because I saw you open the classroom lock by picking it.
Kokichi pulled out some thin needles and stuck them into the keyhole of the lock. Click, click, click. Clack. There, open sesame. Open sesame.
Oh, that happened? I totally forgot.
I believe you.
So you're going to pretend you don't remember, huh?
Quit glaring at me like that. Of course I remember. Yeah, I did it.
The murder?
I killed Angie.
Yeah, okay. That was easy.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
I picked the lock to her lab, snuck into the room, and then wham! Killed Angie. The culprit was me, all along.
What?
What are you saying? Is this some kind of joke?
Nah, no joke. I thought that if I confessed, I could atone for my sins. And it helped. I feel so much better. Whew!
Wait, so Kokichi really is culprit?
No, he's lying. I think. Maybe?
He's lying. I'm certain of it.
Oh. We have
No,
evidence.
definitely not a lie. I killed Angie.
We have evidence.
Shouldn't you guys believe the culprit when they confess?
Then let me ask you, culprit. How did you lock the room?
Huh? Well, it's the same as opening it. You pick the door closed from the outside.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Huh? What doesn't make sense? Can't you lock a door by picking it?
That's what I asked. That's what I looked up
Maybe,
yesterday.
But that's not how the culprit locked the room.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
They used a different
Even the
method.
game doesn't know though. Even the game doesn't know if you can lock a door by using picking methods. Nobody knows. Nobody's tried. Who'd be stupid enough to try to lock a door by picking it?
What different method?
Oh, Himiko is very
Yeah,
into this, huh?
Mumbles. Use your big boy voice and explain yourself.
Okay. Here's my big boy voice. I hope you
There were
like
two
it.
doors to the classroom, and the one locked last was.
The back door.
That's it.
Which is funny
The
because
back
that's
door.
how I got into your mom
That's
last
how
night.
they made this a locked room mystery.
Sorry. I apologize for everything.
The back door had a sliding lock, yes? How was it locked from the outside?
The culprit used a certain tool.
Do tell. The tool that the culprit used to lock the sliding lock from outside was... Oh, do I have to? Oh, this... Oh, I hate this. Whatever. Just go through it as quickly as possible, really. Is the answer here. I think that's a sheath, isn't it? Ah, there's the sword. Found you. Boop. Cool. The sword.
I see it.
That goes so much more easily when you actually...
The gold leaf katana that was stabbed into Kaede's effigy.
I forgot.
The
When-
culprit used that to hit the knob of the sliding lock to lock the door.
Yesterday, I did the skills thing to make it so that I could destroy those blocks with one click. I forgot to do it today because it didn't actually save. Okay, well, oops. Para. Okay, the culprit used that to hit the knob of the sliding lock to lock the door.
So the gold leaf was on the sliding lock because...
Because when the katana hit the lock, some of the gold leaf rubbed off on it. The gold leaf on that katana did peel rather easily.
That evidence rings a bell. Specifically, a school bell.
Ah!
Huh? Are you talking about a different school?
Ah!
What school
Fun.
was it?
Now, that doesn't matter anymore. Let's not dwell on the past.
Ooh, the gold leaf landed on the sliding lock when the katana touched it.
That's funny. So, I think it was 2 streams ago, somebody was in the chat and said that that sword was a reference, or that sword may have been a reference to the first Danganronpa game. And yeah, no, the game just flat out tells you it's a reference. Cool, very cool.
So that means the culprit used the katana to move the sliding lock, right? But wait, how did they move it with the katana? And from outside Angie's lab?
The clue that might give us the answer is the layout of the area itself. It was an odd setup after all. The katana stabbed into the effigy. The effigies hung upside down.
Angie didn't do that as part of the ritual?
No.
Nope.
Nowhere in the Necronomicon did it say you had to hang the effigies.
If it was not part of the ritual, then it must have been for a different purpose, right?
A different purpose. What could that have been? For locking the door, you were just talking about it. The culprit somehow used the setup to lock the room. Ah. In that case, I need to know the reason behind every step of that setup. If I do that, the way the culprit locked the room should be clear. This is the easy part, by the way. Oh, okay. What's the buttons? Okay, that's the go button. I found the go button. Good. Whee! Do you know, this actually reminds me of a minigame in Yakuza 0. I've actually been playing that. Well, I was playing that off stream. A decent amount. I decided I wasn't going to go for a platinum trophy because honestly, the platinum in that game is a massive pain in the ass. But I did still play a fair bit of it, and I spent way too much time playing this minigame. What turned the handle of the sliding lock? Oh, and you have to hit the prostitutes. I forgot about that bit. Thinking time. I have thought. The katana's hilt. The fact that you literally have to hit on prostitutes in order to win this minigame. I don't know who the hell came up with it, but they deserve to work in this game. Honestly, that minigame was one of the funner parts about Endgame Yakuza. I hate the disco. The disco was so annoying. The disco was what was done to make the katana turn the lock. They were hung upside down. Is that what you mean? The disco minigame in Yakuza was the reason why I decided I wasn't gonna 100% it. Katana was stabbed into effigy. Yes. Shoot. Shoot. Yeah. I actually did a fair amount. I think I did every side quest apart from the disco. And yeah, I did. Well, actually, no, I didn't do a lot of the trainer stuff. I did some of it, but yeah, some of it was too annoying. Like the guy who teaches the guy who teaches you how to do rush moves. That mini game is such a pain in the ass. Like I remember I died a lot on the very first one, but the third one is so irritating. To make the katana affect the lock, it was hung. It was hung like a Thanksgiving turkey. Spinning it. There you go. That'll do. Whee! Nice!
That's it. The reason the culprit stuck the katana into the effigy. was so that it would hit the sliding lock as the effigy spun.
Effigy spun?
Yes.
That's right. If you spun the effigy, the rope it was hanging from would twist. Then, if you let it go, the rope would unwind and the effigy would spin the other way. And of course, the katana would spin with it.
I see. So the culprit used the katana's counterspin to push the lock into place?
The culprit simply needed to spin the effigy's rope and then swiftly leave.
Do you know what I think the game is going to gloss over, though? How the hell did those end up tied to the rafters to begin with? I feel like that's kind of like a two-person job, really. Yeah. I don't think the game's going to mention that bit, though. So
This would cause the spinning katana to hit the sliding lock.
yeah.
And thus was the back door of an empty classroom locked from the inside.
It would be very difficult to make a hit
Yes,
in
that's
exactly
how
the
Angie's
right
lab was
place, though.
locked. By using the effigy with the katana.
A plan born from the heart of a sword traveling through the air to intercept us.
What the hell? What the hell that a reference to?
Move the slide lock so easily?
Yes, it could have.
The sliding lock was pretty loose. A little push could move it. As long as the spinning katana hit the lock, it would have slid into position.
Even if the culprit failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it locked.
Do you know what? Him saying that the lock is pretty loose, and honestly looking at it, it seems pretty flimsy. Has it ever happened in a Danganronpa game where the culprit literally just kicked down the door and just walked over to the person and killed them? And just hit them over the head or stabbed them in the stomach? Has that ever happened? I mean, it's pretty on point, but damn, like, that's all you need to do. You don't need to paraglide down and throw ninja stars at them and then swoop away. Like, you just need to kick the bloody door down. That's all.
Which is why the culprit chose to strike at nighttime, as to avoid detection.
Yes, since the student council prohibited anyone from walking around at nighttime.
Are you saying it's the student council's fault?
I'm saying it's a member of the student
I
council's
didn't say
fault.
that.
In any case, the culprit probably used the murder weapon for this trick. It had to have been the right length to hit the sliding lock from the effigy.
Hey, Shingu! Shingu-ji! Thank you for the follow, my man. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you
Other
here.
effigies were only
Sit
hung
back,
up so
relax,
you
and
could get
chill.
some
And
kind
thanks
of
for the
ceremony.
follow again.
That way, you wouldn't notice the lock trick.
But Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed.
It's taken me like a day to get onto the second class trial. This is the third. It took me a good few hours to finish the first one. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the game I feel like is longer this time. There's a lot of filler here. Good filler, you know, character filler. But I do want to point out this is the third class trial. Are you sure that you should like be here, my dude? Like I don't want to be the one to spoil you, you know? Anyway, thanks for being here anyway. I'm happy to have you, even if you don't mind being spoiled. Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed. Could he have? Please answer. I don't actually know the answer to that question.
I don't want to completely ignore that possibility. But I can't imagine the culprit would have done all this just for a distraction.
I mean, part distraction,
That's the
part
case,
escape
then
route.
Kokichi's confession earlier was actually...
A lie.
Seriously? You fucking lied again?
Cough it up, Kokichi!
Man, you guys got me. Okay, I'm not the culprit.
Kind of clever, in a way. Rather than him trying to prove that he isn't the culprit. He just made everybody else do the legwork and prove that he wasn't a culprit. It's kind of funny. Also, it doesn't prove shit. He could just simply be lying now, but I don't think he is. My eye is still on her. I'm watching you. Anyway.
You're telling the truth this time, right?
Oh.
I want to say I'm lying, but I'm not.
Why would you want to be the culprit?
The culprit?
I wanted to lure the culprit out. If I claimed to be the culprit, then the real culprit would agree as well. You get me? And if they pressured me to confess, then that would have looked mighty suspicious. Sheesh. Darn it. It didn't go my way because Shuichi butted in on my plan.
It's a stupid plan. Because then, if him admitting that he is the culprit, unless Shuichi butted in and proved he wasn't, then everyone would have pressured him. It wouldn't have just been the one culprit. Everyone would have dogpiled him and tried to get all the information they could out of him. But Shuichi saw through it. Smart boy.
You and your fucking lies! Go sit in the corner and play with yourself!
Okay, I'll start right now.
Okay.
Alright, so who's the asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
You, I can't hold it up anymore.
What?
What's the matter? You going soft on me now?
Okay. Boys and
Who
girls,
made the
please
locked room mystery
please get a
doesn't matter,
please
since
get a room.
anyone could have done it. Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
Come, dumpster!
Bloody hell, this boy don't quit.
Finally! Someone finally called me a cum dumpster!
Just gonna hide over here.
What should we talk
It has
about
nothing to
now?
do with me, Your Honor.
We must
It has
focus
nothing to
not
do
on
with
the
me,
locked
that's all on
room,
her.
But on who entered Angie's lab. Only one of the student council members or Kokichi could have gained entry. Therefore, the culprit must be among their number.
That leaves us with 4 suspects. Tsumugi, Gonta, Kibo, and Kokichi.
They really are just ignoring Himiko.
Don't forget Himiko. She's
Yeah.
also a part of the student council.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if she was besties with Angie, she's still a suspect.
It's funny is that's the exact opposite of what you said earlier.
Contradicts what you said earlier.
Yep.
Which I can prove
The game
using
just
my
gets there
recording
before
function.
me. I can't have anything, damn it.
It's just a waste of time.
Me? A suspect? I never kill Angie!
So, calling
Oh.
all suspects, what
What
should we
about
discuss
Tenko?
next?
Hmm?
I want to hear everyone's opinion. What would you say to get yourself off the suspect list?
Why are you trying to lead the debate?
I was in
You're a
Albuquerque at
suspect
the
too.
time.
Silence, outsider. Only the suspect rangers are allowed to speak.
Suspect rangers?
I agree. Those under suspicion should explain themselves thoroughly.
We might catch them with their pants down!
Anyway, I want to ask the suspect rangers. What should we talk about? What should we say to get ourselves off the suspect list? Well, guys, I want to hear what you think.
That's sort of a difficult question, you know?
Gonta not smart enough to know answer to that.
Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question.
Not articulate with words, huh? Don't you guys want to prove your innocence?
Why don't you start
They don't trust
Kokichi?
you one bit, and I don't blame them. You're probably plotting.
Why did Tenko have to die?
That's a good question. I was hoping to ask you that.
I want to know what happened to Angie too, but... Can we talk about Tenko's case now and not just Angie?
I got you exactly where I wanted, Himiko.
Dude, Please don't try and move the debate away from that. It's the only place we got left to go.
2 victims could have been killed by 2 separate murderers, you know. So we need to find the first Blackened responsible for the first victim. We gotta figure out who killed Angie. Until we solve Angie's case, Tenko's case is meaningless. Did you suggest that to waste our time?
It's not meaningless!
Himiko?
Tenko's death was meaningless? How dare you! Poor Tenko! How could you do this to her? Himiko...
Himiko, stop it with your crappy lies.
Lies?
Everything you said is total BS. You didn't give 2 shits about Tenko when she was alive.
I don't get the
But
feeling she's
now
gonna
you're like,
launch herself at him.
Oh no, poor Tenko, after she's dead. Come on, really?
Kokichi, enough!
No. It's okay. It's no surprise he'd think that. I know I ignored Tenko before. That's why I'm so upset now. I should have faced Tenko. Worked things out with her while she was still alive. But now, it's too late. I can't complain to her or thank her. It's too late.
Yeah, seriously! It's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Yeah. Face her death?
We need another seance. Yay!
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth. I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito. Alright. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless. The name of the curse is... Death Curse! I suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too.
I'd be very tempted to just call her death meaningless just to see what Himiko would do. I imagine her just vaulting over the pedestal in front of her, just running at it like, yeah!
Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run. I won't forgive something so messed up.
That's going a bit far.
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too.
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
Oh
Even if it
no!
was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Kaito. My man!
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Ugh. What?
Did Kokichi want us to notice?
No, he's lying.
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were 2 different culprits yet.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. But that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional?
So what do we talk about first?
Well, no, maybe. Maybe. So it was. So let's talk about that then. It was Himiko who changed the topic to Tenko. But all that was happening was Kokichi was pressuring all of the suspects to get them to say he was asking them what they would say in order to make themselves not look suspicious. So I suppose technically he might have turned to her and said, well, your turn, and maybe she wanted to avoid that. But I don't know, it being Himiko who did it is definitely suspicious because she is a very suspicious character here. But the situation kind of called for it. That was going nowhere. That was going nowhere fast. So let's call that half a point. Yeah, let's call that half a point. So what do you talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious.
Tancrotch!
Yeah. The people who attended the seance. Korekyo, Shuichi, Himiko, Kokichi. Those two are Kibo. Yeah. Kokichi, yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Sorry, I needed to look through all of them just to make sure that I wasn't mistaking people.
Me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
Yeah, we all did it together.
Himiko still culprit?
Yeah. Bit suspicious, don't you think?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink.
Oh shit,
Kyo,
I didn't mean to.
He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either.
By the way, there's one other thing that I wanted to mention. I actually wanted to mention it during the Truth Buzz, but I forgot while I was there, which is that okay, so when I mentioned that Himiko is the one who actually suggested using those rooms, and I was thinking, and I was saying, well, he might have said, well, celebrate good times, come on. There is also the case that if nobody came up with a valid place for it to work, then he could easily just say, well, how about the rooms just down the hall, the 3 empty rooms. And also there's the fact that those 3 rooms are very, 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 very close by. So they are the obvious solution for where for it to take place. Yeah, sure, that'll do. So yeah, if he knew for a fact that there was going to be a seance being held, and since he had it obviously within his power to make that seance happen, which he obviously did, then those 3 rooms are the obvious choice for where to have that seance take place. So he is a little bit suspicious, but my money's still on the lolly.
I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use? The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this. Very well, I shall begin the preparations at once.
Oh.
Oh, right. Oh shit, sorry. Gone too much into my
Also,
role, my
we should
acting
not limit
role.
our suspects to only those who participated in the seance.
Nope.
The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
A point of entry from outside. He must be referring to... Oh. I mean the floorboard? The floorboards under Tenko were loose. The culprit might have gone under the floors to enter. Tenko has atop them the entire seance. It's unlikely the floorboards were used. There was another location that we could have entered and exited without using that area.
I was wrong.
What? Eh? Do you mean the hole in the floor over there?
There.
Yeah, okay. It was one or the other.
You're talking about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
I feel like both of them should have ended up in this. Should have been correct.
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a
Still-
person could move through.
No matter which one, I'm talking about a hole in the floor.
There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
Bebo?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
He's talking about Kibo, isn't he? Alright. Kibo's flashlight
The
function.
culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
He does have a flair for the dramatic, this lad.
How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light?
That might have been it.
Candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
It's true that with a little light, you could move around under the floor. But is that possible? Ah, so the game is actually having me argue against it. Okay, hang on a second.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance.
Hole in the corner?
How could they even see if they were under the floor?
I mean, if that were the case,
Because it
then
wasn't
she
dark
would have been
under the
able to
floor.
see the light, yeah?
You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor.
No? Enough space for one person to move around, especially if they had Kibo's flashlight. Okay, honestly, I'm not entirely certain what I should be looking for here.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Oh, that worked. Okay.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats.
Why not?
My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
Why?
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
That would technically make him the least ultimate there, yeah?
I neither want nor need your pity.
Oh shit, he flashbanged
Not
us.
with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
And not the way Mew flashbanged Gunta.
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch-black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
That would be...
Then why was
That's a bit of a...
Tenko
That's a
lined
bit
up
of a
funny?
leap. Hang on a second. It would have been difficult to move around. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do. That's a very, very big leap in thought process there. Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny?
Going
Yeah.
to think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from underfloor.
Close. Very close. Actually, yeah, technically, yes.
Ooh,
Well,
nice
yeah.
observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Hey!
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Well, it helps having a skill.
They marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that. That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Who the hell walks around with glowing
That
paint?
sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Actually, now that he says that, that does sound a little bit familiar. Glowing paint. Oh, that's the... Yeah, I actually remember that. That's the first case from the second game. The guy put glowing paint underneath a table, and then when Baka like slid under the table and looked down, he just the glowing paint went away. It became dark, so he just stabbed upwards. He thought he was going to get somebody else, but he ended up getting Baka. Yeah. I remember this.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
No, during seance.
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Under the floorboards.
Maybe the
We
culprit
should have
killed her
established this
before she
already.
went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
Yep, 3 witnesses to say it. Huh. Sorry, I just came to a sudden realization that technically she could have died. Hang on, we'll go through this first. This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. So she might have been dead here. Just bear with me on that one. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Okay, no, never mind. She couldn't be dead for that. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over.
Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
But technically, Kibo could have been underneath the floorboards at that point. With the room candlelit, they wouldn't have noticed his light. Then he just goes up, stabs her, and the reason I was thinking that might work is because he has the tape recorder function. So he could have just played a copy of her voice. But I don't think that would have been possible to replicate her saying, "Understood, I will not say a word until the seance is over." I don't think it would have been possible for him to get her to say those words in order for him to record her, you know? So, maybe not.
That was right before we blew out the candles.
Oh, yeah.
When the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
I thought you're supposed to be the genius here, Mew.
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your lipstick brains!
Yeah, for a genius, she's a serious ditz. I love her. I want to spend more time with her. Marcus on Iron Cage, White Sheep,
When
Dog
Tenko
Statue.
got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Like that.
What are you
When Cage
doing?
lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast.
She's
no
gonna get
one
me
saw.
banned.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
I mean, that might be true. Oh, jeez. I didn't expect to make a lady make those noises today. Tenko not being killed during the seance? That might not be impossible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed,
Okay.
it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
She was dead when the cage was lifted.
I'm not entirely
What
certain
about
where it
moment
is.
Cage was
No? Okay. Only possible if she was killed after seance, so I see no reason why that's not true, Sui.
Damn it!
Well, the reason I'm thinking is that there is blood on the inside of the cage.
It could not have been done at any other time.
So...
She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted. What about moment cage was lifted?
Like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
Huh.
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
There's no doubt!
Okay. Hang on a second. So we have three things there. One is she was under the cage the entire time, which is true. The other is she was killed when the cage was lifted up. And number three is Himiko is the culprit.
When Tenko got killed,
It's not the iron cage.
it wasn't during the seance.
Ah, the white sheet. That makes sense as well.
It could not have been done at
Okay.
any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
That makes
She was
sense.
dead when the cage was lifted.
Because they'd have to stab through the sheet, like I
What
said.
about moment Cage was
Hey, and there's a V.
wrong?
Finally got a V. Jeez. Break.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it.
I mean,
That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted.
oh right. Yeah. I keep on forgetting for some reason. Just in my head, my brain just won't hold on to the fact that the cage is under the cloth. It just won't hold on to this simple fact that the cage is under the damn cloth.
If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility.
I think everything
is that
about
Tenko
you
was
is
killed during
wrong.
the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
What was that? I've got your remodel right here.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
You're really not letting this go. I suppose we found her kink.
I'm gonna prove it
This
right
very
now.
specific,
My
this
golden
very
brain is
specific
gonna go
moment.
all out.
This is her kink. Trying to figure out how somebody died while they were underneath a cage, and that's her kink. Loose floorboard, I
Tenko
think.
died after the seance.
Oh shit.
It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage. They stuck the thin blade through the gaps of the cage. And that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But
Advance.
the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Oh.
She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is, and that's none other than Kyo!
There has to be a hole in Mew's logic somewhere. All I have to do is show the evidence that will counter Mew's claims.
The
Yeah,
blade's all you need.
I found out at the end there.
If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
I'll cut through your words.
Wrong. Your golden brain got the goose wrong. Your golden
Wait
goose
just a minute.
got the brain
Tenko
wrong.
wasn't sitting down inside the cage.
Why is there a goose? I don't know. Why is there not a goose?
She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
Third time's the charm? Is she gonna come
No
back
worries,
again?
Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
She just really has a humiliation
If
kink,
Shuichi was
huh?
right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Oh, don't bring this back around to that. Come on.
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Do you know what? Oh, shit, sorry. Do you know, hang on, maybe now would be a good time to ask that question. Is there any way that any of them would have been able to see in the dark? Would have been able to see down there? Any way at all? Gunta has very, very good eyesight. We know that to be the case. I mean, they could have just memorized the layout earlier. That is definitely true. I mean, Himiko is magic, so maybe she can pull a candle out of her. Maki... no... Sumigi... I suppose Mew could have invented something or something, maybe, I don't know. The entire thing does seem... Right now, the game is kind of hinging everything on the fact that nobody could see under there. But, like I said, it could just be a case that they memorized the layout, which would be easy enough if they knew where they were going. Is there anything... Even their, like, ultimates? Entomologist, ultimate astronaut. He did say that he was good with tight spaces. But that's not a huge deal. Honestly, I'm not entirely certain Gunta would fit down there. He is quite large. So 6'6". Yeah. Yeah. Magician. She's still noted as ultimate child caregiver. Interesting. Interesting that didn't change. Samugi, Mew. Not really. Not really. I wonder how we'll get to the bottom of that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit. Oh, do we now have to prove that the seance didn't go well?
Don't say stupid stuff like that!
Okay, hang on a second.
Screw spirits!
Hang on a second. Let me just double check something real quick. So we have... We do actually have... Hang on. Not the Necronomicon. I did see it. I think I mentioned... Hang on. Where did it say it? I think I mentioned last time. Ah, there it is. The Cage Child. Ah, I mentioned in the last stream. I was looking at Korekyo and I was like... Or Kokichi, sorry. And I was like, wait, you're not actually they didn't actually show me the ritual thing. Even though that's the reason why he was there, is because he was holding the ritual thing. But it's because it was actually up here. Okay. I'm glad I looked through the evidence. I wouldn't have realized that this was here if I hadn't looked through the evidence before starting the trial. So, turn off all the lights. The spirit medium will reply with the voice of the spirit you have summoned. Do we have to... During the preparations... I'm just looking for a problem. I'm just looking for something that we didn't do properly. They must do this at the center of the circle. Four must make the following preparations. Yeah, Kokichi said that the circle itself was correct. Completely dark. No. No. The only thing that went wrong is that the spirit medium will reply with the voice of the spirit you have summoned. That did not happen. So that's the only thing I can think of that didn't work out properly. Alright.
Stop that now.
Please do.
Angie's spirit killed Tanko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tanko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
They memorized the layout under the floor.
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
Wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage? If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
Okay, now you're just grasping at straws, Kaito.
If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I agree with
noticed.
Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
Excuse me, Maki Roll? You do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Oh, do they think...
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
Suicide? Is that what she's thinking?
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, I do. Hang on a second. What is the cause of death like? Stabbed in the back of her neck, resulting in death. In the back of her neck with the sickle. So stab back, and then her arm goes down into the hole and throw it. She didn't die immediately. Apparently. I suppose technically it's not impossible. Well, maybe technically it is. Because how would she get the what was it? It wasn't a scythe. Yeah, the sickle. By the way, if you ever want to know the difference between a scythe and a sickle, a scythe is two-handed. A sickle is one-handed. And they're used for two different things. A scythe is like used to sweep along like swathes of grass, whereas a sickle is used to grab with one hand and then chop away with the other. So a sickle is kind of like a machete in a way. In the way that it's used. 6 inches and the blood was still wet. It doesn't have any like duct tape or anything. She did get duct tape caught in her hair, but if the duct tape was on her hair, then it wasn't holding the sickle. Which means... Yeah, I see what you're getting at. And it is possible, I guess. But nah, probably not, nah. The they she's referring to. Which they? Oh. The culprit? Yeah, okay. The they she's referring to? Yeah, where is she? I don't think that this is correct. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but it's not very... I just don't think it's correct. I really don't. Just proving it, proving that that's not correct is the problem. The game is putting a lot of stress on the fact that they couldn't see underneath the floorboards, and I just don't see that as an as a problem that can't be overcome. So, okay, how are we gonna do this, lads and lasses?
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
Yeah.
What did you say? Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out.
I'll explain one thing.
She volunteered to be in the cage and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
And also just wrong.
That explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Wait, does it say... Hang on. Does it say that can be hidden under your clothes or something? The sickle that was under the floor of the room the seance was held in, the weapon came from the Ultimate Assassin's lab. Oh no, it wasn't her. It wasn't the truth bullet that said it. It was actually Maki that said it when we found the sickle. When we found her, she said she liked them because you could hide them under your clothes. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain how you could hide a 6-inch blade anywhere, without chopping your nipple off. But you know, whatever. Maybe I've never tried.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not really buying it either.
Go to commit suicide.
There might be some
Maybe
there.
I
But...
wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself now.
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Hey, Angie, when did you brainwash Himiko?
Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
I mean, the question then is why do it in such a dramatic way? You know? Like, she didn't need to do that. She could have just gone into a bath and, you know. Yeah. So, like, why do it so dramatically? Like, in the middle of a seance with a sickle. It's like, no, not buying it. Not buying it.
But if she was gonna kill herself,
yeah,
why do it during the seance?
The game keeps reading my mind. It's actually getting kind of creepy. And get everybody killed. Because if we got it wrong because of that, then Himiko was going to die along with everybody else. Did she want it to be a mass suicide?
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Actually, now that you say that, if Himiko was Angie's killer, which I believe she was, then that does make a lot of sense. If Tenko was able to figure out that Angie's killer was most likely Himiko. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
But what are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
Honestly, Guns is...
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
You know what's funny now that I think about it? Nobody is blaming Maki at all. Even though she is an assassin. Like, you'd think that after the whole assassin thing came out that everybody would be naturally drawn to pointing their fingers at her. But no, nobody has accused her of literally anything this entire trial. It's just kind of interesting to me. I don't know.
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets.
True.
What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them.
No, I'm sorry. You lost me. You were going well there for a moment. But that line right there, that's toxic AF. That's bullshit. No, it's their fault for betraying the trust that you put in them. No, you lost me. You lost me.
That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Mackie Roll.
Hey,
I liked her.
Don't you
She's
think
cute.
you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Is that supposed to be an aside? Like, he's
Whether or
talking to
not I
himself?
believe,
That's funny.
my heart can't reach Tinko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gota no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Oh, please do.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
Is this the game hinting I need to lie again? I hate that that's a mechanic. I'm just gonna go on record every single trial and say I hate that lying is a mechanic in this game. It really shouldn't be. I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said. Okay, everyone. I'll see you guys after the seance. She said, see you guys after. I doubt she had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that. And if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. Oh, please don't tell me I have to lie. Okay, Cage Child, Tenko's last
So
moments.
far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Wait, hang on, what's that? Tenko died in a crouched position. The injury on the back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Probably not enough to kill her immediately.
Her plan was to take us down with her.
Monokuma file. Stabbed in the back of her neck, resulting in death. No other injuries were detected. Is that important? Is that important? No other injuries detected. No, sadly, no. I don't think so.
So she hid her true intentions.
She hid her true intentions. This is the long one. Well, I don't think it does.
Tinko's not that kind of person!
Okay.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
With the last of her strength. With the last of her strength. With the last of her strength. Everyone thinks that Tenko committed suicide, but only because they're latching onto the easiest answer. To get out of this, I need to make them think their suicide theory wouldn't work. Oh, I do need to lie, don't they? I do need to lie, don't I? I need to say that her death was instantaneous, don't I?
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her, so she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide,
Okay, let's
it
go
would
with that.
explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle
Ah, damn it, I
underneath
missed.
the floor.
Okay, where was that? That
All
was
the
over there.
pieces.
Okay. I hate this lying bit. I really do. I really hope I'm wrong, though. I haven't actually tried anything else. I'm just assuming I need to lie.
Finally, the last of her.
No. She would have been able to throw it away in time, no? That is, I suppose, unless her death was instant. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That, like, lie and say the Monokuma, like, kind of go for a half-truth. Like, the Monokuma file doesn't actually say if it was instant or if it would have taken a little bit.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan
Okay.
was to take us down with her, so she hid her
Okay.
And then stabbed
Oh,
herself with
I
it.
did this too early.
Finally, with the lash.
There it is. I know it was right. It was a lie. Okay. Break.
Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor. Because she died instantly.
Instantly?
Maki knows. That's a lie. Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far before she bled out.
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Does Maki trust us? Will she go along with it?
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail.
Hey, Maki roll.
Tenko died instantly.
Maki roll, I love you.
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
But she ain't happy. Thank you, Maki.
How could you forget that, Maki roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Excuse me?
It's okay, Kaito, really.
She just gave him a huge. She just did him a huge favor, and then Kaito's like, apologize. Like, what? Maybe I should thank her. No apology necessary.
Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
No, there must have been a way. We're gonna figure it out.
The only reason why we don't know is because of the light problem. That's it, right? Am I forgetting something? Am I missing something here? It's literally just the light problem. That's all. Without the light problem, then suicide is no longer on. Well, it is technically still on the table, but it's no longer a huge possibility.
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance?
Oh yeah, there is also that,
If
the
you know
sound.
something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
Actually, that sound of the wood cracking. Do you think that was the sound of the floorboards being lifted? It didn't really sound like it. It didn't really sound like it. It sounded like something breaking rather than being lifted. Not a bad idea. We should remember what happened at the seance. Let me try to remember. I'm sure there's something. I need some kind of clue that will help me solve this mystery. Alright, well I know what that is. Sound during seance.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is something that bothers me.
Yeah.
The fact that the seance failed.
Oh, get
The
lost.
ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it,
I could agree with him, but I don't.
while we were all singing the song,
It doesn't actually mean anything.
I heard something fall. I think.
I'm more concerned about how dark it got in there. I mean, it was totally pitch black. My job was to relight the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
Boo-hoo for you. It was pitch black during the seance. That limits what could have happened. Just stay calm. Think. There must be some kind of clue.
Did
Something
anything seem out of the
falling.
ordinary during the seance?
It's interesting though.
There is something
I didn't think there was something falling.
The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song, I heard something.
What? Oh, did I miss? I think I missed. Okay, well, we'll fast forward. That's obviously the correct answer. Something fell. Oh, was it the sound of the scythe or the sickle being thrown? Is that what that was?
How utterly
Ah.
While singing the song, something.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, agreeing with the killer. To catch the killer, yeah.
Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
Huh. Now that I hear it again, it's more like a giant
Sounded
thud.
like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard.
Huh. That is true. Weird. Okay.
Could have fallen down.
I
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
Unless the cage was lifted for a moment.
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
Why on earth would the cage be lifted? Huh, a loud sound. Like something hit the floorboards. Maybe that sound had something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark. The murder? Dried blood. Marker stone, iron cage. No, there's no way that... There's no way that that could have been lifted. I don't know. The loose floorboard?
This is it!
Okay, cool. That worried me for a second. I wasn't
I
sure.
think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound. That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
could the floorboard have made such a loud sound though?
It was the sound of an intense impact.
Yeah, I'm not really getting it.
If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
That is true. There would have had to be a strong impact to make that sound. What was it? What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now.
Thank you, Kaito. Very helpful. Alright, not up to be. I honestly have no idea. I have no clue. Cross
So
piece.
what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Yeah, I still
Someone
disagree with
must have
that.
stomped through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew.
Don't be stupid. Don't you know me and Balls are the best of friends?
I like how I can agree with that. Me and Balls are the best of friends. What would have made a strong enough impact to knock the floorboard loose? If I think about everyone's testimony and combine it with the facts...
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance.
There's only one that I can...
That wouldn't make such a...
There's only one that I can think of.
Over. But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through.
Hey, that was
I
right.
agree.
Okay, somebody stomped through the floorboard?
Kokichi is right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
Yeah. I mean, the cross piece thing was the only thing that made sense. And then I did come to the idea that maybe somebody left the wood in place or something. Maybe with duct tape. And then they just stomp it. But like, where does that... How do... I don't see how that actually helps with the murdering part of things.
The floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the cross piece?
What did they stand to gain? That's the question. To solve this case, I'll need to think carefully about the cross piece and floorboard. Tenko's body was at one end of the loose floorboard, and the cross piece that had been cut was on the other end of the floorboard. The unsupported part was outside the cage, so it could have been stomped on. Only one of the cross pieces was cut. The other two were intact. I mean, you can use that as a lever, but one of them was right under Tenko. And the other was in the center, right about where the edge of the cage was. I mean, you could have used it to lift the cage. I don't... What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stomping on the floorboard? Hangman's Gambit. Okay. S is one of the most popular... is one of the... is one of the most likely... C? No. Oh! Is a seesaw. Seesaw. Victim? Is there a V here? Seesaw. Fulcrum? Seesaw effect? Ah. Okay. Seesaw effect. Alright. I want to point out, it was about this time that he realized he has no idea what's going on.
The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
I have no idea how this could have possibly worked at this point. I'm just going with the flow. I'm completely and totally lost.
A seesaw?
Yeah.
The crosspiece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off. The other two crosspieces holding up that board were close to the cage. Meaning, if you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no crosspiece,
then you would lift.
the next crosspiece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever.
But that
A
would just...
lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
Okay, so where's the sickle? Did they stand on the floorboard and just swing through the cloth? No, there's no hole in the cloth. There is no hole in the cloth. So how could that possibly help with anything?
Her whole body lifted up?
Oh, also, getting her to not actually... Like, okay, just being stabbed in the dark and being completely surprised. Alright, fair enough. Lifting her entire body? That's gonna make her yelp. That's gonna make her say something. There's no way she's quiet during that.
Yeah, that sounds like a seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that. Unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
How? Do explain.
How?
In order for the culprit to kill Tenko with a seesaw trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor.
Yeah. It would have needed to have been... It would have needed to have been duct taped to the side of the... to the inside of the cage. The floorboard, seesaw, the cage, and the blood on the white fabric. What conclusions can I draw from this? There's only one place the sickle could have been that is consistent with the evidence. Inside the cage? Underneath the floorboard? Between the victim and the floorboard? The top of the cage? I guess?
That's it!
But how the hell did you stick...
The sickle was at the top of the iron cage, with the blade facing down.
Kyo? Excuse me?
The reason we didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage.
Oh, you're joking. You're actually joking. It was in the dog statue? But... Is that like supposed to be a part of the... Is that like supposed to be a part of the thing? That only the dead can speak with the dead? It's literally part of the ritual? Or something like that? Oh, it was absolutely Kyo. 100%. But then, how did the sickle go from inside the dog statue to underneath the floor? That bit doesn't make sense.
Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place.
No, wait, hang on. Actually, come... Wait, so it was on top of the cage, underneath the cloth. Who was the one who put the cloth on there? That was Kyo, yeah. Okay. Okay, so it's very much looking like Kyo. And yeah, no, I was wrong about the dog statue. No. That would have been really cool, but I was wrong. It wasn't a part of the dog statue, no. It's still looking like Kyo, but how did it go from how did the sickle go from lying on top of the cage underneath the cloth to underneath the floorboards underneath the cage? That bit doesn't make sense.
It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue wobble. But the statue's weight kept it from falling over. Once everything was in place, if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw, Tenko's body would have shot upward and hit the blade on the top of the cage. She was bent over, meaning the sickle's blade would have connected with her neck.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't long enough to stab Tenko in her crouch position. But with the floorboard acting as a seesaw, it could compensate for the blade's length.
Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
It's crazy, but it would explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
And you know what else it would explain? It would explain why Kyo is so adamant about wondering why did the seance not work. That he's every chance he gets, he's been like, why did it not work? Why did the seance not work? Every chance. Even in the trial, he was like that. Why did the seance not work? If it literally requires a death, if it requires a blood sacrifice or something, like only a dead body can house the soul of one who has departed. So therefore, the death of Tenko wasn't actually a reason why it didn't work. It was a necessary part of the procedure. Damn, Kyo.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
That impact make floorboard come loose.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide.
Yeah, old-fashioned, absolutely.
Wait, what the hell's a seesaw homicide? That's fucking crazy!
I like her. She's funny. So, what's funny though is that she actually got it right. If I'm correct about the death being a necessary part of the ritual, then she actually got it spot on. That it's old-fashioned. Very old-fashioned. Which is very interesting.
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know?
Actually, maybe I'm wrong though. Because if you think about it logically, then if that's the case, then the dog statue wobbled, yeah? If that's the case though, then maybe it would have been... If it's the case that it was actually a necessary part of the ritual, then the dog statue should have also been part of it. Like, the dog statue should have been able to should have like had a special groove in it to stop the blade from moving and to stop the statue from wobbling. But I don't know.
They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box.
He is true there.
Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
Hmm? Are you trying to...
It was you, wasn't it?
Oh.
The one behind the seesaw homicide.
No, it really wasn't.
Huh? Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
The only one? Why's that?
What did she do? She helped with the dog. Like, no, it has to be you. No. He's just putting the blame on somebody else. It has to be her.
Because this seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared room. That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
Nope, doesn't work out. However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use? The middle one. The middle room's always best for stuff like this.
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
So, okay, okay. I should probably mention now. I'm getting the distinct impression that Himiko has been set up for this entire thing. The entire thing, everybody is just going to be pointing at Himiko and saying, it was you, for good, because like she was outside of Angie's room, all of the reasons that I mentioned before. It's like, she has really been set up for this killing. So I guess it's up to us to show that it wasn't her. Which is kind of hard to believe because I truly believe that she was the one who killed Angie. But yeah. Well, we'll just see how it goes. I'm obviously going to keep an open mind. I mean, you saw how quickly I changed from Himiko to Kyo. So
She likely found out about my plans for the seance somehow.
You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab.
Our culprit, Himiko, prepared her seesaw trap ahead of time. Then she waited for me to host the seance and suggested the middle room. She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it.
nope, there's something wrong there though.
Then she killed Tenko, all according to plan.
That's a lie, right? Himiko did such a thing?
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved, tragically killed her.
Wait! We don't know that, right? He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill Tenko, right?
Kill Tenko? I killed Tenko?
Technically, she did.
What's wrong, Himiko?
Himiko was the one who originally wanted to be in the cage. Who originally offered to be in the cage. And then Tenko said no. And insisted that she be the one. Funny that. Is it true that using the middle room was Himiko's idea? But does that mean that Himiko really killed Tenko? Would something like that really happen? Something so cruel? Oh, intermission. Really? Oh, I thought we were at least going to get through Tenko's murder. Huh. Okay. Well, do you know what the annoying part about these intermissions are? Is that they happen so suddenly. Even I'm caught off guard. But if the other ones are anything to go by, then the second half of the trial is probably going to be like 4 or 5 hours. So I am most definitely leaving it here for today. So Kyo is actually the killer of Tenko. Let me think about that for a moment. So why am I so certain about Himiko? Why was I so certain about Himiko? Well, she was beside the hole in the floor. So she had easy access to Down Under. But if that's not how they died, then that goes away. But why was I so certain that she was the killer of Angie? Why was I so positive about that? Oh, was it because I had the mistaken idea that she was the one who said that she had sticky fingers? Is that why? But nobody actually said that and I was just simply wrong. I guess maybe that's a possibility. Was there anything else? She was standing outside the room, but that's circumstantial. She had every right to be there. Yeah, no, not really. There's nothing really else. There's no other evidence for it. She was... I think I mostly suspected her... Wait, why did I? Why did I? I feel like... When I started the stream yesterday... This is just going by memory. I could be entirely wrong. But I get the feeling that when I started the stream yesterday... I had already decided that Himiko was a suspect. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Do you know? I have absolutely no idea. She was definitely a suspect for the second killing. There was a bunch of evidence for her. But it turned out to not really be the case. It was in fact Kyo. I really wish that they'd finished this half of the trial. You know, they had a hard cut where it was you who killed Tenko, wasn't it? And everybody points at Kyo. And I really wish that that was the case, rather than finishing it here where there's a fake out where everybody's pointing at Himiko. It was you, where it most definitely wasn't. Yeah. She did basically nothing, did she? It was Shuichi and Kokichi who set the cage down. And the cage has... Yeah. So they could have seen that there was no sickle on top of the cage at that point. Then it was Kyo who put the cloth down. And then all four of them brought the statue over. So it has to have been Kyo. Which is... So it's really weird that the game is stopping now, but... Oh well, I will hopefully be finishing it tomorrow. If you notice, this is actually the third stream in a row for this, and it's because I did the math, and if the second half of a class trial usually takes like 4 or 5 hours, which they have so far, then I'd only be able to do that on the weekend, really. So I did the mental math, and I came to the realization that if I wanted to finish this trial this week, that I'd have to have it done. I'd have to do 4 streams in a row. So hey, this is the 3rd stream, so hopefully I'll do the 4th one same time tomorrow, roughly. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you had fun. Shinguji's, thank you for being here. Thank you for the chats, my man. And thank you for the follow. That's greatly appreciated. I hope you had fun. No matter how long I say it. Everybody who just popped in, popped out, I hope you had a fantastic time, no matter how long you were here. Yeah, and I hope to see you again. I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitch. Like, subscribe, comment, favorite, ring the bell, and follow, please. Have a good day, everybody. Bye!